Jake's come out of his shell amazing on this new album. It's like burst forward at such a degree. It's like, I mean, it's so much work. I mean, although it's called the Ozzy Osbourne album, it was justifiable to call it the Ozzy Jake album because he did so much work on it. You know, Jake did as much more than anybody really.
This is a Full and Bloom news brief. More info at fullandbloom.com. After decades defined by creative triumph and unresolved grievances, guitarist Jake E took the stage for Ozzy Osbourne's historic Back to the Beginning farewell concert, marking a public reconciliation with a controversial chapter of his past. Once known as much for his explosive riffs on Bark at the Moon as for his years-long rift over songwriting credits and credit due, Lee's return marked his first real contact with Ozzy since their split in 1987. For Lee, the invitation to join Osbourne's final bow was a career-spanning full circle.
I did not know I would be invited. Actually, I think the first time I heard of it was when Tom Morello asked if I'd be a part of it, because it was quite a few months ago, and he said there's going to be a concert. It's going to be Black Sabbath's final gig and Ozzy's final gig, and I can't see it happening without you. Would you be interested? And I said, yeah.
Following the Back to the Beginning concert, Lee received a heartfelt text from Ozzy expressing regret over not spending more time together and a genuine wish to reconnect. Ozzy's message read, "Hi Jake, I'm sorry I couldn't spend more time with you on the weekend, but it was really chaotic. I would really like to see you when I eventually get back to LA just to shoot the shit. It's been so long since we saw each other. Where are you living these days? The last thing I heard, you were living in Las Vegas. How did the gig go for you on Saturday? I really hope you had fun. Anyway, I will text you when I eventually get back to LA, and we must hook up. Much love and respect, Ozzy." During a brand new interview with Guitarist, Lee opened up about what the Back to the Beginning experience meant to him. "I hadn't seen Ozzy in almost 40 years. We hadn't been in contact, but he might be the single most important person that happened to me in my life, other than my wife. He's the person I'm most connected to as far as the general public is concerned. For most people, he was the highlight of my career. The fact that he's gone now, I'm still wrapping my head around it. His personality was so huge, and even though he abused himself so much early on, he survived. I always thought he'd probably outlive me, so it's a big loss." During the interview, Lee fondly recalled the magic that set Ozzy apart. Magnetism is a good word. He was bigger than life, but deep down he was a kind man. "I'm glad I went to Birmingham and got to talk to him, even if it was just for a minute or two. I did always want to reconnect with him on whatever level, not necessarily musically, but that would have been nice. I didn't want it to end with getting fired and feeling like there was bad blood. I never really took it personally. He said some things about me, but I never said anything bad about him. I stated the facts. I kinda got screwed over on the Bark at the Moon record, but I knew it was a business move. I never really fired back because I knew I'd never win. Getting into a fight with Ozzy Osbourne through the press, he's gonna win. And I still liked him, and I still like Sharon. Money has never been important to me. People don't believe that. They say, yeah, right, but it really doesn't. I'm kind of like a hippie. If I have enough money to get by, that's all I need. I don't need a mansion. I don't need a Ferrari. Money corrupts so many people. I never let it corrupt me. You can offer me a lot of money to do something, but if I don't want to do it, I just won't. The fact that they made money on some of their business at my expense is not a big deal to me. It wasn't about money with Bark at the Moon. It was always about the credit. I'm proud of what I did with Ozzy. I don't think it was the high point of my playing, but Ozzy did make me better. In Hollywood, I was maybe considered the top guitar player, or at least in the top 3. But when I joined Ozzy, I got a lot better. I got more focused and better at my craft with Ozzy. I should have thanked him for that. And during my last talk with Ozzy, I did. He did make me a better guitar player. He made me look at my guitar playing more. The solo for Bark at the Moon is an example. I had the second half all worked out, and the first half was something completely different in my mind. It was more melodic, more like a Neil Schon thing. I was sure it was going to work. I can still hear it in my head, and I still think it would work. I spent all night trying to get it the way it sounded in my head, and I know Max Norman was getting frustrated, and I was frustrated. But Ozzy walked in and said, "What is that?" I said, "It's not exactly how I want it, but it's close." He said, No, that's not working. Just go out there and jam." I was like, "Why not? I'll try it." And I think the solo that ended up on the record was my second take of just jamming. Ozzy said, "That's it." Max said, "Yeah, I think that's it." I was like, "Really?" I didn't put any thought into it. I was just sitting there ripping it out. How can that be the solo? Ozzy made me rethink how to play the guitar, and I appreciate that.